Hi, everybody. Welcome to this interview. We have today Mr. Pierre Laurin, CEO of Prometic Life Science. Still, as usual, Mr. Laurin has always something new for us. Mr. Laurin, good day.
Good day. How are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. And it looks like it goes very well for you too. Your stock has been booming. And it's at the very top for a stock that was worth 12 cents or 9 cents. Can't remember how low it was. 9 cents in 2012 at $2.20 right now. It's 2,000%. Yeah, that's a lot. People are happy. Are they going to be happier?
Well, I mean, it appears to be a huge growth from that base of 9 cents, right? But I mean, we went through Chute Creek without a paddle for a little while. That had nothing to do with the technology. It was a series of unfortunate events that we had to go through. But we did more than just going through it. I mean, we were hit by a series of bad luck, and but the fundamentals were already always there. And as we finally turn the corner and the market realized that during that phase where we were under stealth mode, we managed to develop the technology, develop our strategy. We had a break with the plant in Laval that we secured with the INRS, the university in Laval. And that enabled us to all of a sudden to leverage our technology. And a few FDA thumbs up, approval, more deals, more partners, and all of a sudden everybody starts looking at this with the same color of goggle anymore. A few showers to get rid of the Chute Creek.
There's so much to say. I know you have so much to say. So why don't we do it one by one? Because there are so many things. You have your new factory in Laval. You have a deal with the Chinese, with the Russians, and so many things. So let's talk about your orphan. Can we call it a drug?
Yeah, orphan drug. I mean,
drug.
The orphan designation is something that is granted by the FDA to encourage companies to focus on rare disease. Well, 150,000 patients just before the previous interview saying that's not a lot. Well, it's a lot of people. It's half the population of Laval, right? It's 150,000 people in the USA alone affected with a disease called pulmonary fibrosis, which has a very, very poor prognosis. It's actually almost as close as pancreatic cancer, for example. It's survival, 5-year survival is less than 20% of the patients. And there's no real solution. There's 2 drugs that were approved recently by the FDA that have a marginal hope for the patient, but they're not a cure, okay? In a robust animal model, we show that our drug outperformed those drugs, right? But this is in an animal model. However, we're in humans and other indications. The drug is very well tolerated. That's one big advantage we have. Is it's a once-a-day pill, right? A little tablet once a day, and very well tolerated.
It's not a chemical.
It's a chemical entity, but I mean it's a well-tolerated product. No major side effects noted so far, either in healthy volunteers or in patients. So it's quite promising that, because those patients are taxed, right? They're taking all kinds of other medications. You don't want to add more misery to their condition. So it's a very, very elegant profile to add, and that's what the FDA consider when they review the data. They review what is in need here, and they don't grant those designations just for the fun of it. So so it's promising. We are targeting patients that have a condition that resolves around an inflammation. When you have inflammation in your body, you are more likely to develop diabetes. You're more likely to have kidney that will fail over time, your lung, all our systems are affected. So we have thumbs up by the Health Canada to start clinical trial in what you call type 2 diabetes patients with metabolic syndrome. These are patients that are diabetic, their liver not in good shape, their kidneys not in good shape, and overall they have to do something in order to get better. We've shown in various models, and Vanderbilt published great data on our drug, that we could actually contribute to reverse these situations. We'll see the trial starts now. We're enrolling patients this coming month.
But what does the drug changes for the patient?
Well, that's a good question. What we've seen in models, I mean, we use animal model to emulate what we see in humans. And those models where, for example, you have mouse that has hypertension, failing kidney, diabetes, the whole mix, and you feed fat diet on top of that, like, you see that the animal that are not on PBI 40/50, they go on dying in a few weeks. The animal on a drug, they live. I mean, unless you terminate them to examine their organs and everything, they live, they don't die. Their kidney function improve, their liver function improve, their glucose is normalized. So it's a drug that acts at the core of what seems to be involved in what you call metabolic syndrome. That is obesity, inflammation, resistance to insulin, glucose goes up, organs are damaged, obesity, that vicious circle, right, is hard to break. And we cracked the code somehow with that drug. Hopefully we'll show this year with our current trial that is undergoing to what we see in animal translate to human. That's the first objective for us, is to translate in human. So we have on one side the effect on the pancreas, the liver, the kidney in one study. The one that we just received orphan drug designation for the lung is pulmonary fibrosis. And why did we get orphan designation for the lung? It's 150,000 patients in the US. So it has to be below 200,000 to have that designation. Which
but at first you were recognized like a filter producer,
yeah.
And then it seems like you were into the plasma industry, but this is not plasma.
No, this is not plasma, and the filter in the plasma is a mean to an end, really, because ultimately what do? Is we use our know-how, our technology, our core competencies to make drugs. Some drugs are extracted from plasma, they're in a vial and they need to be injected. Other drugs are synthetic that you can take as a pill. But ultimately, when you're out there providing solution to the healthcare providers and to the patients, it doesn't really care where it comes from. No. But we're leveraging both platforms. If you recall, our small molecule platform comes from the fact that we had scientists moving from biochem to Prometic almost 10, 12 years ago when Shire acquired biochem. The writing was on the wall that there was no interest in pursuing R&D there, and the scientists moved to Prometic. So those two platforms, one that is resulting from our joint venture deal with the American Red Cross, enables us to have those plasma-derived drugs. The one that, stems almost 12 years now, has generated and these are the same guys that came up with 3TC for biochem a while back. Now they probably have another Grand Slam coming on their way.
So tell us what you are doing in your new plant in Laval, and what's the future of that?
Well, Laval serves many purposes. We partner, you mentioned Russians, Chinese, Taiwanese. You have markets out there that are which we call emerging market where there's a huge need for even the commodity-based products. Those guys, they go Wi-Fi, as we call it. They go Wi-Fi with Prometic. There's no time to put landlines. Let's go with the new technology that Prometic has, but now validated by the FDA. So it's like less risk as we go on. When these people sign with us, it's because they've been to our facility in Laval. They can see the technology work at scale. Okay, now they can take that blueprint and repeat it in their own country, and of course the type of deal as you've seen with the Russians, and it involves upfront cash to us. It involves, more importantly, that going forward, they will have to spend $150 million in their country to build a facility like the one we have in Laval, slightly bigger scale. Then they have to buy from us the filters, and they pay a royalty. You see, so each of those plants worldwide feeds the mothership, Prometic, okay? And then some of those products have no market locally.
So is Laval more a lab than a production facility?
It's a production facility, becomes a showroom, it's a training ground. It's not the same scale as what the Chinese have built or what the Russian are building right now. The Russians and the plant in Taiwan will be 5 to 6 times the size of the Laval facility. Okay, so of course we rely on the capacity of our partners to supply us with products that will make up our top line and bottom line as well. So it's a big, when you start looking at those deals, and that's what analysts are picking up. It's like we're having the equivalent of almost $500 million of capex investment to enable manufacturing of drugs that we haven't had to spend $1 on. If you see, I mean, the way we're leveraging our deals. So we're really using our technology as currency to secure rights and to gain access to capacity with our partner. So it's quite promising model, and which means that as the top line goes, most of that goes to the bottom line. So it's a huge impact to their revenue. So now, there's two types of revenue stream, now actually three types. There's the filters. The filters will grow from where we are in the 25 million to about 100 million 2008. When we sell to pharma companies and those licensees we've described. The second revenue line is the gradual market entry of the plasma-derived products that we enable with our filters. Some made in Laval, some made in other facility for us. And then the third one is obviously a PBI 4050 and its siblings and other molecules that we have, because we have a pipeline on that as well, which we haven't even talked about, right? PBI 4050 is the first of a family of compounds. And we wanted to prove the point that it works in human before opening the kimono and talking about the rest of the pipeline.
And yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. The PBI 4050 now is for this pulmonary disease, but it can apply to many other things.
Yeah, fibrosis is the terminology that is applied with a type of healing that is going wrong. Okay, it's kind of an overkill healing. I mean, you cut yourself, you have a scar. Okay, the scar tissue is not really skin. It's kind of it's whatever the collagen that blend the two part together, and you have a scar.
It's a filling.
Yeah, so this is only aesthetic. But when you have that kind of scarring occurring in your organs, these areas become less functional.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And
they don't do what they've been built for.
Exactly. So what happens here is that if over time you have constant injury, to use the word injury as a medical term, which is constant hypertension, for example, pounding on your kidney, pounding on your heart, diabetes, not properly controlled, pounding again because glucose does nasty things if it's too high. All those injury over time fatigue the organ, and the organ kind of scar itself, and the organ is less functional. Okay, and then you become real diabetic type 1. You need insulin, and then your kidney. I mean, this is it's a time clicking. I mean, you're aging faster. I mean, fibrosis is the end game. At the end of the day, when we get old, is we're a pack of fibros. You know, I mean, we haven't healed to repair our body 100%, right? So over time, fibrosis in certain conditions accelerates your life, your death, seriously. So how can we reduce the progression of that fibrosis, delay somebody needing a dialysis? It's huge. I mean, this is like, imagine if somebody has a kidney disease that is progressive and now is on a it's a timeline of 6 months before he gets on a dialysis machine. Loss of liberty, has to be dialyzed every second day. If you can delay this, just economically to the system, it's worth $100,000 a year. That's $100,000 a year to treat a patient on a dialysis. Lung is the same thing. I mean, you wake up one day, you lost lung function, and all of a sudden, not only you lost that lung function, but unexplainably, you're declining, like drastically. I mean, it's scary.
How many people work for Prometic right now?
What was that?
How many people works for Prometic?
We're about 240. 240,
oh,
and we have about 40 people in the US, 60 in the UK, and the majority in Montreal, Laval. In Laval. So
that's way more than I thought.
Yeah, no, it's growing. I mean, we've added 80 employees over the past year.
It goes very fast. We still have a couple of minutes, and the question bar is open for the viewers right now, and we have many questions. So I only give you a few seconds to answer every question. So we have the first one here. That's not right. That wasn't the question, but is it possible for PBI 4050 to receive more orphan drug designation? And for other indications that are in development right now, other than IPF?
Yes, and we plan to, and we are in the process of securing those.
There's a lot of speculation around a deal ended a few months ago. Are you in negotiation with a major pharma? There's in parentheses GSK.
No, we're in discussion. I mean, the business model makes it that we're in discussion with pharma all the time. I mean, so people suspect that, but I mean, you'll see the news on the tape like everybody, but we're in discussions.
Yeah, who can answer something like that? Should you meet your revenue expectation of around 25 million for 2014?
Yeah, there was a guidance around this. It's always tricky when some of the revenue interpretation is subject to IFRS, but it's in that range. And not everybody has understood that we raised money in November as well, so strong balance sheet. So a very good financial position.
What are the revenue expected for 2014?
Well, based on some deals that we're working on that adds to the revenue mix of product sales and service revenue, we're looking at, you know, north of 40 million this year.
40 million, yeah, nice. Do you expect coverage by a U.S. firm in 2015?
We've been very busy in the U.S. I mean, this is coming.
Do you see the first year of a positive net revenue for P-PLI?
Not this year. I think the company is not a steady earning per share company until second half of 16-17 when we introduce plasminogen, our first plasma-derived product. At that point, the company crossing over 16-17 is going to be north of 150 million, 200 million in revenue. And then at that point, we're earning per share, happy earning per share company.
Do you have enough money to go through all of the testing for the 3 orphan drug phase 3 and PBI 4050?
Yeah, for the product program that we've disclosed, we're well financed for that.
What's going on with the 6 milestone that you that was supposed to be accomplished by 2014 year ends?
Well, pretty much all of them were announced. The only thing that we didn't announce were 3 new orphan drugs that we will be disclosing. So we decided for strategic reasons to spread those news during this year. And I guess the market will and the shareholders will appreciate why when they see it coming.
Only 2 more. When are we going to see fibrinogen deal?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
They are good. Some are good.
Very good question. I mean, I think that this is expected first half of this year as well.
First half of this year. And when will the 4050 metabolic syndrome trial start dosing in patients?
In March.
In March.
Yeah. In a few
Mr.
days.
Laurin?
A few hours from now.
That's all the time we have. You are always so interesting.
Thank you.
So I wish you got to come back soon again.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Laurin, thank you very much.
Thank you.